Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be with you today. I'm Vicki Saunders, founder of SheEO, and welcome to this simulcast. I know it's early in the morning for you in Australia, and we're absolutely thrilled that you are here as part of this. Okay, we're having a huge snowstorm in Canada. I know you're having a heat wave there, so it's kind of a good mix. I want to talk to you a little bit today about SheEO, what our model is, where we are in the world, how things are going, and then we're opening up to Q&A. So I know that we have hosts, Julie, Julia, Sarah, Kim, Julie Trell, Penny, Kita, Monica, and Mel. Thank you very much for hosting and organizing events across Australia. If you have any questions as I'm going along, please just type them into the chat, and I've got Mish here with me, and she's gonna help us to forward those questions to me to answer. So, just to introduce myself, I'm the founder of SheEO. I created this model about 4 years ago and we launched in Canada. And for those of you who don't know about SheEO, this is a new way of supporting each other. Women coming together to fund the kinds of ventures that we love, that we're passionate about, that are changing the world. And we use our networks, our buying power, and our expertise to create an impact to help these ventures grow. We started 4 years ago in Canada with 5 companies that we funded. And at the end of April, we will have funded 55 different companies. It's an incredible new approach, and we're using crowdfunding and crowd selection and all of our networks to help these ventures grow and to help each other. So here's how it works. A minimum of 500 women per country come together. They contribute $1,100 each. That money is pooled together, and it's loaned out at 0% interest to 5 female entrepreneurs that all of you who contribute capital select. And when those ventures get that funding, they also get access to 500 women on their team to help them grow their business. And I don't know about you, but I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. And to think of having all of that kind of support around me is just such a game changer. And it has been to the ventures that we've funded. They've gone from a place, a lot of them, of feeling quite alone, really struggling to get capital, really struggling for support, feeling like no one really understands their businesses, to all of a sudden having this abundance of support. We're now in 4 countries, so Canada, the US, Australia, and New Zealand, and growing rapidly. Our goal is to get to 1 million women around the world in a $1 billion fund to support the kinds of ventures that are creating a whole new economy and a better world. And one of the reasons we started this, certainly my story around this, is it was really tough for me to get funding and for people to understand the way I was running businesses. But I don't know about you, but like almost every single day there's some kind of crazy thing showing up in the media about how bad the numbers are for women in leadership positions in terms of funding. You know, less than 3% of the leaders in most companies, in most governments, are women. And in venture capital and in business, same kind of challenge, less than 4% of funding from banks, from institutions. Any of the money that gets loaned out or invested in companies goes to women. And if you're a woman of color, it's so much worse than that, 0.001%. So part of the, I knew about all these challenges that were out there, but the thing that really kind of popped it open for me was this concept of crowdfunding. Like, what if millions of women could come together and contribute a small amount each to create the new kind of world that we need to create? We're living in a place that's pretty much designed by men for men, and we've never really been at the table to design things. And I think at this moment of like really rethinking what the world looks like, we need the values, the relationship-based approach, the bringing humanity into business that's really been missing. And so this is a network for you, all of you, to come together and contribute what you have to give. And one part of that is money, but there's so much more to it. So it really started with this: where are the great companies out there that can change the world, and how do we get behind them and help them grow? And then it grew into something much bigger. One of the things that I've been saying for a while to our team is we don't really know what this wants to be yet. It started as a new way of funding women-led ventures. But what it's emerging into now is, as women come into our network, we call you an activator, because you're activating so much more than just your capital, your network, your expertise, all of the experience that you have. When we bring all of that together, we're literally one step removed from whatever we need. And so now we have an online community where you can actually go and ask for support yourself. What is it that you need? Do you need a mentor? Are you in between jobs? Are you wanting to be an entrepreneur and looking for a co-founder? All of this community, more than 4,000 women around the world now, are here to help you. And we call this entire experience radical generosity. It's a behavior in our network. We practice being radically generous with each other. It's a way of being, it's an experience, and it's a muscle to build. One of the things I think about every day when I'm responding to people is, what is the radically generous response? And if we just treated each other with a bit more humanity and love, what else could happen? And on that note, this is one of my favorite parts of what's happened with SheEO. We start with these 0% interest loans and this network to help women grow their businesses. And what starts to happen out of that, we have 100% payback rate on the loans, 100%. Nobody on the planet has 100% payback rate of loans. Women pay their debts. And when a whole community of people are trying to help each other grow and expand and get more confidence and get more connected, literally anything's possible. The outcomes can be completely different. So the 100% payback rate is a big part of this. But the other thing that has been really fun is to sort of see boldness growing in our network. So we've had entrepreneurs come into our network feeling excited about their business, but not sure how big it could be. And as people see their business and talk to their friends about it and use our buying power and our marketing word of mouth skill set to start spreading the word, these businesses get bigger and bigger. And so on average, ventures in our network are growing 100% per year on average. Some are growing much faster than that. And they're exporting and they're getting connected through our communities. So it's a very, very different kind of approach. It's not just, here's the money, over to you, figure out how to grow. It's, we are here to support you. What is it you need? And it's activators supporting activators and activators supporting ventures. In case anyone's sitting here wondering, well, what would I have to give? Literally, we have people in the network who are 14 years old and 94 years old. Everyone has something to contribute, as simple as contributing your capital or buying the products or services or talking to people about them. Literally everyone has something to give. And I think that's really part of the message with SheEO as well, which is we literally we have anything that we need. And so if I was in front of you right now, one of the things I would ask is how many people, and so maybe you can do this in the room you're in right now, if you could just put up your hand, even though I can't see it, how many people would help someone in the room right now if they asked? Could you put up your hands? I assume now that every hand went up. And how many people love asking for help? And this is usually where a lot of hands go down. And I think we've been sort of encultured over the years to really not ask for help, to put ourselves last, to kind of stay small. But one of the opportunities we have with SheEO is this really amazing community of people who are all stepping in to help each other. And that's one of the things that we encourage all the time within our network and for our ventures in a process every month of asking for help. If anything was possible, if you had what you needed around you, because you do, you're surrounded now by radically generous women, what is it that you'd want? So I'm just going to pause for a second. I've spoken quickly and said a lot, but are there any questions that are coming through?
We had one panelist who likes to ask for help.
Oh yeah, right on. Excellent. Well, thank you for that.
And the whole room in Melbourne put their hands up to help people.
Oh, I love it.
No questions so far though.
Okay, cool. So one of the things it's been really interesting on this journey. So it took a long time to sort of get this idea out into the world. There was a lot of explaining. And one of the things that I've sort of noticed over time is we want everything to be perfect before we step into it. I can speak for myself. You want to be super prepared. And I think one of the things I would like to say up front is SheEO is not perfect. This model is not perfect. We have 100% payback rate, but we are reinventing and rethinking how you could create an ecosystem to support one another, to create different outcomes and a better world. How do we include everybody? How do we make sure that we're supporting ventures on their own terms instead of telling every single one of them that they have to grow as fast as they can? How can we create a new environment for that? And even just in how we do business with each other. You know, I grew up in a space where it was kind of like, if you didn't know how to do something, you did not say that out loud because you're supposed to know how to do everything. Well, what if there was a safe space to say, I actually don't know how to do this. Does anyone know how to do this in the network to help me? Imagine being in a place that is much more freeing and open for you to kind of reach your potential. So underneath a lot of the ideas behind SheEO is, how can we create ecosystems? How do we create environments? What are the conditions required for us to reach our potential? And I think that the way that we do this in the world right now is pretty bad. We're all about like winner takes all. The top person thrives and gets everything. Everyone else is like stuck without a lot of spoils. And we come from a place of scarcity a lot of times. And so if you kind of look at the state of the world right now, 5 people have the same wealth as half the planet. And for anyone who's been sort of following what happened at Davos in the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of talk about this concept of winners take all and how everything's broken and we need to rethink things. So with SheEO, we have a pretty cool model. It's designed to be as simple as possible for as many people as possible to be part of it. It's a leap to step into an $1,100 contribution, but literally this is the best investment you will ever make in yourself. This is not a network where you are invited in and it's only for people that have reached a certain part of their career. Anybody can come in and be an activator in this network. You don't have to be in business. You just have to decide that you want to put your money towards creating a better world and you want to bring yourself, your radically generous self into this network to create different conditions. And I want to say that there's been a lot of times where people are like, you know what, I'd really like to do this, but I'm probably not successful enough. I probably don't have enough to contribute. Maybe I'll do it in 5 years. We need you now. We really do. The only way things are going to change in the world is if we come together. And if women come together to support each other, there is no stopping us. The only reason the world stays the way it is right now is because we are not connected with each other. But when we get behind each other and support each other, anything is possible.
We've got a couple of questions now. So a couple of questions around the logistics of becoming a venture.
Great. So to become a venture, so the kinds of companies that we're investing in are revenue generating ventures that can express how they're creating a better world. So we just announced the top 16 semifinalists in Australia. Congratulations to all of you if you're on the call right now. We're absolutely thrilled for you. When we go into final round of selection, we're looking for ventures that you care about, that you think are creating a better world. Would you buy or recommend this product or service? Does the team and the entrepreneur have what it takes to grow this business? And is it something that you think our network can really help to grow? We're looking for things that can expand to other markets. So imagine an amazing company that you're excited about in Australia getting plugged into New Zealand and Canada and the US and other markets we're going to. We view this as a way of like finding great innovations in your country and helping scale them and spread them around the world.
So looking a little bit more at how the money works with the ventures, how that part works.
Yeah, so we do a lot of interesting things at SheEO, and one of them is how the money gets divided up. So when the ventures are selected, you're going to select 5 ventures this year. When those ventures are selected, they come together for a weekend retreat and they get to meet their coaches. They get 2 coaching calls a month and they're in this very exciting program throughout the year where they're really encouraged to grow their own personal leadership, their team's leadership, and then their company. When they come together, they meet each other for the first time. They open up their books to each other, and it's a very vulnerable, very intimate experience. They get to know each other really well. And on the final day, we turn it over to them to divide up the money. And they only have 2 rules. You can't give it all to one venture, and you can't divide it up evenly. So the ventures themselves figure out what is the highest and best use of the capital to create the biggest impact. This is such an amazing experience. Every time the ventures do it a little bit differently. Everybody always gets money because we're women and we believe in everybody who's at the table. And yet there's a big spread. The range so far has been from $25K to $285K divided up. So it's roughly $100,000 each, but then in terms of the money. So if $500,000 is raised, then and 5 ventures are selected, that's the money that they have to negotiate and divide up amongst them.
And what kind of companies can apply?
So companies that can't, so we're past our application cycle at the moment, but the kinds of companies that apply have at least $50,000 in revenue, up to a couple of million, are majority woman-owned, so 51% or more women-owned, women-led, and able to answer how they're creating a better world. It's very important to us that everyone is using their company and their leadership to create a better world. Cool.
All right, so we have a bit of a legal question. This
Yes.
feels like a cross between a charity and a hedge fund.
Interesting.
Have we done our legal due diligence to see if we can operate in the United States? Can you talk a little bit about that?
In Australia?
In Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a very interesting piece. So you can't actually use a for-profit structure for this idea because we would be taxed on the contributions that came in. So 30% of it would be off the top. And you can't do this in a charity because we're loaning money to for-profit social ventures. So there's a unique model that we have in Canada called a not-for-profit, and we're using that structure. And because it's a 0% interest loan, then there's no profit-making activity. So it fits within this middle ground. This is, again, another one of the innovations. It's amazing how hard it is to get money to female entrepreneurs in new ways. We have all these like broken old structures. So we found a unique way to do that. It's vetted. We've talked to lawyers. It's all sorted out. We have a bank account set up. And to be very clear, the money stays in your country. So in our model with SheEO, the $1,000 is put into the fund and it's kept in your country. So it's loaned out at 0% interest to the entrepreneurs, paid back into the fund, and then loaned out again. So when you do this for 5 years in your country, you will then have this perpetual fund that will continue to roll out for generations to come. It's a very unique design. So $500,000 loaned out this year to the ventures, paid back in 20 equal installments over the 5 years, and it just keeps rolling out and loaned out again and again.
What is our plan globally? Where are we going next?
So we are committed to going to the UK this year. We have a ton of interest in Southeast Asia. So we've been to Indonesia and Philippines and Singapore, talking with them. Also been to India, speaking with them as well. We were in Switzerland a few months ago. We've got Africa. Pretty much every country in the world has reached out to replicate this model, and we are getting ready for scale. We have a very tiny team of 9 people full-time, plus all of you who are helping spread the word and grow this. And our goal is to stay very, very small and nimble with our core team. And we've built technology systems to help this scale. So we don't spend a lot of administration. We are bootstrapped with sponsorship dollars until we get to sustainability. And the goal is to always keep a very, very small, self-organized community and spread it around the world.
How do men get involved?
We love it when men want to get involved. And so far, the kinds of things that men have done have been to spread the word to their communities. They've been sponsoring people that are in their networks. My brother was the first person to hack this model, and he sponsored in his 2 daughters who have been activators since they were 14 years old, which is an amazing experience to see. They had no idea that you could actually change the world through business, and to experience this year after year, and for them to read through the applications and learn about all the kinds of things that women are doing that we don't get to read about in our media because we're not telling women's stories. That needs to change. Through the experience of SheEO, you get to see behind the curtains, really, of like what's happening out there that you really don't have any insight into. So it's an incredible way of learning about the kinds of women in your community who are changing the world and how you can help them. It's very, very inspiring. One of the most amazing parts of SheEO is the voting process. And on that note, you have won the prize in Australia. 68% of people voted in the first round, which is the highest voting rate we've ever had. So we're really, really thrilled with how people are going out there and reading through the applications and seeing what's going on in your community.
Question about the summit.
Yeah.
So talking about how we do the summit and who's hosting in Australia.
So Holly Ransom is going to be hosting the summit. It will take place in Sydney on the 8th, or on the 1st of April. And it's a gathering, so all of the activators who have signed up can come from across the country and be part of this day where we unveil who are the ventures that you've selected. It's a really amazing day. You can just imagine, so when you're in this room, first thing in the morning, we're all meeting each other and connecting and seeing who all the other radically generous women are. And then we ask the semi-finalists to stand up in the room. And then we ask for the selected ventures to walk up onto the stage, and they get up onto the stage, and they're usually quite tired because they've had an unbelievable weekend of meeting each other, dividing up the money, going through this incredible experience where literally they have everything they need. And then they get up on stage, and then usually we all burst into tears because it's such an incredible experience. It's so emotional to think that for them to really stand there and feel that all of you have made this possible. All of you care about them and selected them. It's a very overwhelming feeling. And this is really what I would love to see more of in business. You know, it's very challenging to get up on stage and to say, I'm here with this great idea. And in many cases, we don't love it when women get up on stage and, you know, say, I'm a winner. And so to do this as a collective and a cohort, and to let them know that we're here for them, is a game changer for all of them. Every venture who's been selected in the past has been blown away by what it means for them and how much confidence that gets built up when they're selected. And so we're all on our feet clapping and thanking them for what they're doing in the world. And so it's a very special day. And then we have a lot of interactivity for you to meet one another and to see how you can help each other. Is there anything around VC, venture capital, on this one yet?
Not so far, but what are your major challenges so far, and how are you getting through them? That might have something to do with VC. Yeah,
so some of the major challenges, there's so many. You know, the thing that sort of comes to mind, top of mind, is really how we get such positive feedback about this model. It's working. People that are stepping into it get excited about it. And a lot of people are waiting. And the part of the challenge is, like, we need people now. If you're sitting there thinking this is really great, but someone else will do it, this really is one of these participatory moments where the only way we get a different kind of world that changes the numbers is if each of us step in to do this. So that's the big thing, which is if you are feeling a stirring inside you to be part of this, we really, really need you, and we would love it if you would be part of this. Your country is halfway to its numbers. If everyone who's an activator right now invites one more person, you're going to hit the 500 and be able to fund 5 ventures with roughly $100,000 each. So that's a big piece, which is how does each and every one of us who feels like this is an exciting thing feel like we are actually able to step in and help? That's one big piece. Another piece is, you know, if you are sitting there trying to fit this into your existing model of how the world works, your head might be hurting. Like, what's a 0% interest loan? What is that? Well, there's negative interest rates in Europe. We've all figured out how to make money on investments, or lots of people have. The challenge is now, how do we actually use our capital to create a better world, to reduce inequality, to have better social outcomes? These are the new things that we need to figure out. Just getting a return on our money is only one part of the thing. We are not going to be on this planet in 100 years unless we figure out incredibly innovative ways that are very outside the box of how you think. And so the model of SheEO really does require you to think a little bit differently. Like, if you were actually nice to people and people treated you well in your business, could you do better? We're proving that that's the case. It's just not the normal narrative of how you do business. And contributing capital without actually getting a financial return is a different thing. But the social return you get on this is off the charts, and your money keeps paying forward. So your one-time contribution just keeps rolling forward with this 100% payback of loans. So those are a couple of things that are challenging. And I would also just like to say, you know, part of the thing that we're noticing is people understand the challenges that women face getting funded. You know, we talk about venture capital, 4% of venture capital goes to women, 0.001% if you're a woman of color. The venture capital model is such a unique, small niche, but we've got this narrative in the world that that's what everyone gets is venture capital. Very, very small percentage of companies that are started and led by women need venture capital. Most of them need patient capital, debt that helps them with cash flow challenges. And so that's the area that we're playing in. 90% plus of your economy in Australia is small and medium-sized business. And they're incredible businesses that create sustainable jobs, that create a great impact in your local communities. Those are the kinds of things we need to fund, not the 7 companies that are going to make 4 people super, super rich on the planet. Like, the inequality that's involved in venture capital is a really big challenge. That's not the area we're playing in. We are like, where are the new, innovative, revenue-generating companies that we can fund that create a better world? So part of the challenge there is just, it's a very different approach, and it's working.
Is it possible to be an activator and apply as a venture? Oh
yeah, this is one of my favorite things. We actually love conflicts of interest at SheEO. So you can apply and you can be an activator. That's not a problem at all. And one of the reasons we do that is because 500 women are deciding. So you can vote for yourself and get that one vote, but you can't actually stack the deck in your favor. So most of the ventures that we have in Canada have become activators as well. This is a way of contributing and participating in this model. It's not that you're just a recipient or a contributor. You can be both. And in fact, the healthiest state for all of us is to be a giver and a receiver of support. If you do both of those things, you're whole and you're part of this community.
Can you outline a couple more ways you can support a business or a venture in the community other than just becoming an activator?
So yeah, as I mentioned, we have an online community. And one of the things that you get to do is you'll be able to search through that community, find other people in the network, ask them for help. You can also offer support if you have a business that actually would be a service or a product for other people in the network. You can ask for that kind of help and reach a whole new community. And as we're growing, almost doubling in size each year, there's just increasingly thousands and thousands of women coming together that are a radically generous community for you to be part of. I just see one here. What's Vicki's ask? I ask. I have one ask today, only one, which is that you please become an activator and get everyone that you know to be an activator. We really need the capital as part of this to be able to fund more ventures. You're halfway to the goal. We've got about a month and a half left, and actually going online and looking through these semi-finalists' applications, watching their videos to select them is really going to be one of the best experiences you will have this year. It is so, so gratifying, and there's nothing like the feeling of meaning and change the world love that you feel when you go through this kind of thing. You're going to change someone's life, and it's a very, very special experience to be part of. Okay. Is there more?
There are a couple more.
Okay.
As an activator, are there meetups in cities, or is there just an online community?
So there's an online community, as I mentioned, but there's also regular meetups. We have people in different parts of the country who self-organize. Again, you're connected with each other online, so you can self-organize meetups every month. And there are lots of keen people in each region who are doing that in most cities. That's the way that things have been going. It's not something that we've designed from SheEO's head office, as it were. It's something that's emerged grassroots because people want to meet each other.
How do we ensure there's equitability for ventures with less privilege?
So one of the criteria for selecting ventures is to really pay attention to diversity of all kinds, from sector, racial diversity, age diversity, geographic diversity. These are all elements of the decision-making process. And one of the things that's kind of neat about this is we have 500 women selecting. So we're trusting the intuition of hundreds of women to make these choices. And it's always amazing to me that you get such a mix. You get some people who really focus on financials and the financial sustainability of the ventures, others that don't look at the financials at all and just fall in love with the entrepreneur from watching their video or reading through their application, others who are just very deeply moved about certain sectors that they want to support. But the mix of all of that kind of is a magic. And, if you've read some of these books like Blink and others that talk about that, the instant sort of recognition of what you're excited about versus deep analysis, That's really a very heightened level of intelligence. And so that collective intelligence together has had us pick unbelievable companies that from a traditional lens you may not have selected, and they've all gone on to do really well.
2 more questions. How do we cover admin costs for SheEO?
So admin costs from SheEO are covered out of the sustainability fee, which is $100 out of the $1,100. So $100 goes to cover that, but that's obviously not enough to cover our administration. And so we bootstrap. We support our organization with sponsorship and some very radically generous contributions from women who really want to see this model scale and create the system change that we're all here for.
All right. We just got a bit of a hard question.
Yeah.
A number of women want to join SheEO, and when they talk to their partners and have real issues convincing them of this model that is not a tax deduction or an investment.
Yeah. Again, this is one of the things here. It's like, so don't ask for permission, just go do it, is what I would say. But then again, if you're not the bold me, one of the things I would do is just go do this with a few friends and do it as an experience together. You know, you can go and share the activation with other people if you want to. If you're trying to explain this into the existing model, it will not work. We are a rethinking of if you were starting over again, and you were creating a world that was very focused on strong social impact, as well as using capital efficiently to solve the challenges we're facing, this is a really different model. If you're looking to just get your financial return the way the world does right now, we could triple down. We've already doubled down. We could triple down on the existing model we have, but like 5 people have the same wealth as half the planet. Why would we do more of that? We have ruined our planet in so many different ways. We need to rethink what we're doing. And if you only try and fit it into the existing model, we're really stuck. Someone saying something about that?
We got a couple of big laughs, a really big laugh in Sydney and a really big laugh in Melbourne. So Thank you. Last question, and it might be able to wrap up a couple of things. What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I would tell my 20-year-old self to go and get plugged in to a network of people who lifted you up. I was very much on my own in my 20s, thought that I was like on this isolated island with my head down by myself, not on an isolated island, that might have been fun. But I mean, I was not very well connected into a network of people who lifted me up. And once I did do that with my life, it changed everything. Do not stay alone. Do not put your head down and only do things by yourself. You literally have a network. You're all in rooms right now, I hope, surrounded by people who want to help you. Please ask for help. I don't know if I would have listened to that when I was 20, but I really hope that whoever is out there does. So, we good?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you very much for being here. You can reach me at Vicki@SheEO.world. Send me an email if you have any other questions, or email hi@SheEO.world. Tag us on social. Any questions that didn't get answered, please send them to us. We're very, very happy to answer them. We have tons of FAQs on our website as well, frequently asked questions. And we've thought through a lot of this. We've been doing it for 4 years. We have fantastic impact and results. And we're really, really thrilled to be in Australia. And thank you again to all of our hosts and super activators who've made this possible.